In the headlines, Governor Zulum established rehabilitation reintegration camps for repentant terrorists. Attempt to burn down Bauchi House of Assembly fails as security seals complex. Lagos government shuts down school over safety standards and guidelines as students drowns. Away from Nigeria, 6 killed, dozens injured in Chicago, July 4th parade shooting. Hello and welcome to the news update on Trust Television. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. Beginning with political stories, ahead of the July 17 deadline given by the Independent National Electoral Commission for political parties to submit the list of their candidates for the 2023 general elections, the Tinubu Support Organization has endorsed Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai as the vice presidential candidate. Speaking during a press conference on Monday in Kaduna, TSO's Director General Aminu Suleiman said that the group arrived at the choice of El-Rufai after meeting with critical stakeholders from the Northwest region. He believes that the choice of running mate is a critical success factor for the victory of Tinubu in 2023, hence the organization having assessed all options wants the APC's candidate for the vice president to come from the Northwestern region of the country.
He is the man that runs a state government with appointees all over Nigeria. His capacity is not in doubt. His personal ability, outstanding. He is firm, he is courageous, he is a principal. We know that he resisted every pressure to be dragged into the presidential race. We appreciate him and his colleagues, the APC governors from the north, for sticking to the view that gentlemen should be respect the agreement. El-Rufai is a leader whose talented and energy should be brought back to the federal level. We appeal to all leaders in the APC to support Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to choose El-Rufai as a running mate.
The Independent National Electoral Commission on Monday conducted a mock accreditation of voters ahead of the July 16 governorship election in Osun State. Hamid Oyegbade reports that residents who thronged selected designated centers for the mock voter accreditation expressed satisfaction with the exercise. At Unit 40, Ward 4, at Tauja D in Oshogbo local government, the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, and the resident electoral commissioner in Osun State, Professor Abdul Ganiyu Raji, monitored the exercise. The INEC chairman said that only the permanent voters card will be allowed during the governorship election on July 16th and the 2023 general election.
The first thing to do is the thumb. If it doesn't work, then use the facial. So the two can't fail. The facial, we know, is working well, and the only way it can fail is when you forget your face at home.
The crisis that engulfed the Bauchi State House of Assembly on Monday took another dimension as an attempt by yet-to-be-identified arsonists to burn down the complex failed. The move led to a takeover of the assembly complex by a combined team of security operatives. The special advisor to the Bauchi State Governor on State and National Assembly liaison, Sani Bura, confirmed the incident to journalists on Monday. Trust TV gathered that last Friday there was a leadership crisis following the demand by 22 members who passed a vote of no confidence on the Speaker and principal officers of the House. The Speaker of the Assembly, Abubakar Suleiman, had recently defected from the All Progressives Congress, the party on whose platform he was elected as lawmaker to the People's Democratic Party. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission says it has registered 248,000 citizens in Niger in the ongoing continuous voter registration. The resident electoral commissioner in the state, Professor Sam Egu, made this known in a chat with Trust TV. The report comes as put together here.
Professor Egu explained that out of the total number of newly registered voters, 229,000 were registered for the first time. He said 19,000 were those who made transfer, connections, and those whose PVC were defaced and come for replacement. The resident electoral commissioner also noted that the printed voters' cards sent to the state in the first and second quarters for the last year have been sent to the 25 local government areas for distribution to those who registered.
The cards that were printed in the first two quarters of last year have been brought to Niger, and they have been taken to the local governments, to be distributed to those who actually registered. And so we are actually making progress.
Professor Egu, however, revealed that arrangements have been made to allow internally displaced persons from security-prone local government areas in the state to participate in the exercise.
Standing UN and regional conventions, including the Kampala Convention of the AU, that makes it, compulsory for citizens, even in their displaced camps, to vote, because that has not diminished their citizenship. In fact, in 2021, the federal government of this country, signed off of a national policy on IDP voting. So we don't have a choice.
He said Niger State has recorded minimal cases of multiple registrations and assured all of a free and fair poll in 2023 election. Residents also expressed their views on the exercise.
The process is very good. It's going on smoothly, and the officers are attending to us, and the process is okay for now.
The Nigeria Customs Service has impounded 77 trailers of imported rice, Indian hemp, tramadol, and other contraband goods with duty-paid value at 7.1 billion naira in the first half of 2022. Disclosing this at a press conference in Lagos, the Customs Area Controller of the unit, Hussein Ejibunu, said 103 suspects were also arrested in connection with some of the seized goods during the period. He also said that the unit collected a total of 577.9 million naira as revenue derived from underpayments. Now, Governor Umar Zulum says that the state government will open camps for repentant Boko Haram and ISWAP groups in Borno State. The governor, during the inauguration of the repatriation of IDPs from Chad and Niger Republic, as well as emerging repentant terrorist committees, urged others to drop their arms and surrender. He mandated the committees to streamline the process of rehabilitating and reintegrating the repentant groups into their communities.
That includes how they will come out, how they will be rehabilitated, how they will be fed in the camp, as well as their reintegration into the society. It's a very cumbersome task. So this committee has these two main mandates. Right now, all the three camps are full. It's a matter of serious concern to all of us. I had a meeting with the theater commander yesterday. I've directed him to look into the possibility of establishing additional bigger camp with a view to accommodating the larger number of defectors who are coming out here in mass. We want to provide secretariat to this committee.
We are going to interface with the committee at the federal level whenever they are here, and we are also going to have constant meeting with the security agencies amongst us to ensure that we have created an enabling environment for the defectors to defect to the Nigerian side without difficulty. Inshallah, in no too distant future, we assure you of submitting the first periodic report of how the committee intends to work containing our modus operandi and then successes recorded. And same periodic report will be given to you as we make progress into this.
Now, 12 persons were said to have been killed in a clash between bandits and vigilantes in the Zak community of Wase local government area of Plateau State. Youth leader in Wase, Shapii Sambo, confirmed the unfortunate incident, which left 9 bandits and 3 vigilantes dead. Major Ishaku Takwa, spokesperson, Operation Safe Haven, a multi-security task force maintaining peace in the state, also confirmed the incident but could not ascertain the casualty figure. Now, the Lagos State Ministry of Education has shut down one private nursery and primary school in the state over the death of a 5-year-old boy. The Lagos State Commissioner for Education, Mrs. Folashade Adefisayo, announced this in a statement on Monday. She said the school will remain closed pending an administrative investigation of its operations and producers, as well as the conduct of its officials in line with schools' safety standards and guidelines. Adefisayo advised parents whose children are pupils of the school to note the closure and await the conclusion of administrative investigation. Now, we have joining us live via phone from Lagos, educationist Dapo Adaramewa, who is Director, Distinct Star Group of Schools, Lagos, to talk to us about this. Thank you for joining us on the news update.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now, this is coming more than a month after this incident happened. There are concerns about, whether or not the school itself is even registered, from what we've heard. So, what would you make of, this incident and the action of the government coming at this time?
I think it is a very, very heartbreaking incident, and my heart really goes out to the parents involved in this case. It's always very disastrous when things like this happen. But rightly so, you've pointed out that, some of these schools are not actually registered. And these are the things that we as parents must, look out for. Because there are certain guidelines that the Lagos State Ministry of Education insists that we have in place. There are certain teachings that they offer. And there are certain checks that they do to ensure that schools comply with certain standards. And so it's very important that we look out for schools who are unregistered to avoid these schools, because oftentimes they just don't even know their basic duties as a school.
Now, according to the story, how the whole incident happened, this children from the school were said to have been taken to Ivory Health Club, for swimming lessons. And it turns out that these children, as children, will always play around. And then in the process, one of them fell into the pools. And, that was how one of them died. What does that say about, the preparation and the plans of having this kind of extracurricular activities, taken by schools, and the need to also have whether what do you call instructors now, or is it lifeguards around some of these facilities to avoid this from happening?
Yes, I think both the health club and the school are very complacent in this. I think any standard school will understand that whenever you are taking children out, you have to maintain a healthy staff to student ratio. It is generally advised that you shouldn't have any more than 4 students to every member of staff. Now, had they had such numbers guarding those students, it would have been very easy for any staff member to notice when one of their 4 children has, is not where he's supposed to be. And then also the fact that there seem to not be a lifeguard on duty, particularly when children are swimming in an adult swimming pool, is just testament to the incompetence of the health club themselves. And these are people which, they need to be held responsible for their actions, because a life has been lost, and it's something that can never be repaired. It can't be compensated.
All right. Now, there are lessons definitely to learn from this. I mean, from the angle of the government, what can be done to take proactive steps to ensure that such things do not even happen? You know, in terms of monitoring and making sure that any school that have any form of extracurricular activity have what it takes to actually ensure the safety of children.
Yes, I think the first step the government needs to do is ensure that schools that are not registered, there's an inquiry into why schools are not registered if they are not. And to ensure that all schools, both particularly registered ones and those who they are going to work on to get registered, are aware of the health and safety guidelines as provided, by the ministry itself. And occasionally there should be tests, and such to ensure that these kind of things are in place. And then I guess the lesson for the school itself is that any responsible school should make every effort to ensure that they have a good staff to student ratio when leaving the school. There needs to be timely checks. From what I understand, the child was underwater for 30 minutes. It shouldn't happen. A child should not be out of sight for even 1 minute, let alone that amount of time.
Well, it's quite an unfortunate incident. Thank you so much for joining us on the news update and giving your own perspectives on this. We appreciate that.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, that was Dapo Adi Ramewa. He is Director, Distinct Star Group of Schools, giving his perspectives on this. Now, coming up shortly on the news update. Indiscriminate sales of rams as
Eid-el-Kabir is one of the festivals celebrated.
Details and more after the break. Please join us again.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
Welcome back. You're watching the news update on Trust Television. Here is a reminder of our top stories. Governor Zulum to establish rehabilitation reintegration camps for repentant terrorists. Plus, attempt to burn down Bauchi House of Assembly fails as security seals complex. In other news, the Federal Capital Territory Administration says a policy to checkmate the activities of parks and gardens operating within the Abuja city center are now in place. The policy, which is intended to rid the city of criminality while creating an avenue of accountability using data, is said to have a negative impact on the business of operators of the parks and gardens. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu reports.
Relaxation at parks and gardens within the Abuja city center will henceforth not operate beyond 7 p.m. daily. This, according to the Federal Capital Territory Administration, is as a result of the criminal activities reportedly taking place in some of these spots. FCTA says it is poised to implement the park policy in line with its revalidation and accountability quest.
Some of the parks hitherto were surviving under illegality, where the original allottees went maybe and got third parties and sold and transferred on, and certain activities that ought not to be done in the parks were taking place because there are rules that binds the parks. Like closing times are supposed to be 7. Then in the parks, you are not supposed to erect certain structures. But in this case, you go to some of the parks here, you see they even erect structures for event centers. They do, which violates the rules because the Federal Capital Territory Administration set up that department in order to ensure that things go right in that area. So the issue, I'm saying that revalidation is good, and that was what brought about the 7 o'clock.
The Federal Capital Territory is popular for nightlife, and many of the relaxation activities take place after close of work, which is usually from late evening towards midnight. With the implementation of this policy, operators and customers risk losses.
I believe so much that it's for a security purpose, but it's going to cause us a whole lot of inconvenience. It's going to affect our workflow and the business. But since the security situation in this country is becoming overwhelming, we have absolutely no choice than to follow the directives of the government. This garden has been running for over 5 years now. And ever since we've been in this business, we've never had any experience of such. We don't do drugs, we don't sell drugs, we don't accommodate drugs addicts, as a matter of fact. Ever since we've been doing the business, everybody can attest to the fact that our services are top-notch.
As the city adjusts to the parks policy, parks and gardens operators who fail to open and shut their businesses from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. risk being sanctioned in accordance with the new provision. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In a similar vein, the Federal Capital Territory Administration has warned against the sales of rams at unapproved locations within the city. The warning follows the surge in demand for rams as the Eid al-Kabir celebrations draw closer. Musa Luka now reports.
Eid al-Kabir is one of the festivals celebrated by Muslim faithful around the world. One of the major events that characterize the celebration is the sacrifice of rams. During the period, it has been recorded in Nigeria that there is usually a hike in prices of rams in the market. This hike, due to increased demand, makes sellers to resort to using unapproved locations like street and roadside to ply their trade because of easy accessibility and target market. Some streets within Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, are not an exception to this. Against this backdrop, the Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, has issued a warning to traders selling rams indiscriminately. Speaking to some ram sellers around Jabi Shoprite, Mahadi Abu Huraira acknowledged that the government has restricted selling of rams at indiscriminate areas. They have already requested approval from the Ministry of Environment to be allowed to sell.
We did talk with the environmental people, but we are not sure. We haven't yet come to a conclusion whether they are going to give us permits or not. So we are trying. Yeah, we are still waiting for response. Yeah.
Abu Huraira expressed delight with the nature of the ram market despite the harsh economy realities, adding that the patronage increases as the Salah draw nearer.
I will say it's somehow directly proportional to the, or inversely proportional to the number of days to the Salah. Earlier when we started on Thursday, the patronage was a bit small, maybe 5 to 10 people per day. While Salah is fast approaching, more people are still coming. And also due to the fact that this is our first time here, this very year, so a lot of people are not actually aware of the place. But since with the suggestion, the patronage is, I would say it's relatively okay actually.
Other sellers in the market are hopeful that despite the increase of prices of rams, they will still find buyers, especially with the coming of the Salah. We thank Allah for patronage. Yes, we have few challenges, but basically is the restriction by government and also security challenges. The government is yet to give us full 100% go ahead to sell rams here. Our rams are cheap. They ranges from 40,000 to 150,000 depending on the size. Those that have the means used to buy 2 to 3 and even give other people there. Musa Luka Musa, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Traders at Dawanau Grain Market have appealed to government to provide them with enabling environment to ease the suffering of Nigerians. The appeal followed the continuous increase in food prices in the market, despite being reputed as the largest grain market in Africa. Idris Jibrin reports.
Tons of grains arrives and lived here by the truckloads daily, from maize, beans, rice, millets, and several others. These food crops are collated from different parts of the country and transported to many parts of Africa. Honestly, there are several countries in Africa where we take our grains from here. You see, Burkina Faso is there, Mali is there, Ghana is there, Niger is there, and several other countries in Africa where we used to take our grains from here. But traders here say there are problems in terms of government intervention. For several years, we have been calling on government to come to our rescue, to intervene and be helping us. As at some point, government will say they want to come in terms of exporting our goods to other countries of the world. But even as at that, nothing has been done.
And away from Nigeria, a gunman perched on a rooftop opened fire on families waving flags and children riding bicycles during an Independence Day parade near the U.S. city of Chicago, killing at least 6 people and wounding 36 others. The shooting in Highland Park, a community of about 30,000 residents in Chicago, Illinois, caused panic on Monday as hundreds of marchers, including parents with strollers, fled the scene in terror. And that's a wrap on Trust News Update. Watch more via all our social media platforms and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. I am Ayuba Ile. Thank you for watching.